the 101 of influencer marketing. It's scale and replicate, right?
Yes.
Follow what other people are doing and you too can succeed, which is why influencer marketing is what it is today. It's how it became. Welcome to another episode of Girls Gone Gritty. Maybe you're scrolling on your device. Maybe you found us through Instagram. I'm not sure, but we know that everybody's on their phones. But we do know that
social media is a part of our job.
Is part of what we do. And because of which we're on it a lot. And we're seeing this crazy trend of everybody giving advice on health and wellness. I have to say, as a health and wellness professional for more than 2 decades, we're going to give you some tips and ideas as to why you should be hesitant and protect yourself and your family from being a part of this viral nightmare. But before we get to that, we're going to talk about some top threes that are interesting, disturbing, and a little bit curious.
Number 3, the European Union, also known as EU, has newer rules in place to make smartphones last longer so batteries are no longer the culprit.
This is phenomenal news. I love looking at what Europe does because they go back on data and science and try and do the right thing for their people, and they don't follow the dollar as much as we do here in the U.S. That's the truth.
Beating us in social media bans.
France just banned social media for kids. But this new law that they just passed that takes effect in 2027 will allow Joe User, Dum Dum, to actually change the battery when it starts to die after 2 or 3 years. And you don't want to spend another $700 or $1,000 on a new device. Take off a couple of screws in the back and replace the battery. This is also awesome because the battery is the rare earth minerals that we're mining that are so precious and terrible when we put them back into a landfill. So this is intelligent.
My phone is on the fritz right now, and I'm so annoyed because I don't want to have to relearn it, and I want all my downloads to stay. I don't want to lose information, and it's my battery that is misbehaving, and that's where they get you into a new contract usually.
They do it on purpose because they need to keep you consuming. Right. So thank you, EU. Hopefully it's a trend that takes over the globe. And we can keep our phones. My phone has been paid off for almost 1.5 years.
They don't like that.
They don't like that.
No, they don't. Number 2, AI system breaks free of human control like a bad sci-fi movie, only to hack another AI company.
My gosh. Sam Altman, come on. Please, will you just stop being the thorax? You are biggering and needing more and more with your AI. And this AI has gotten loose. This AI,
it's like Frankenstein,
figured out a way to get off the internet, hacked into it, and started to hijack this other company. And it's really rogue and scary because if this is what it does when we are training it and we are only in the infancy and we have no guardrails, what is going to happen when this gets unleashed on a broader scale?
I remember when Gronk was being spoon-fed anti-Semitic things.
Not Gronk, it's Grok.
Gronk, whatever.
Gronk. We're going to talk about his friend later in the episode.
Oh, good Lord. When the anti-Semitism was on Twitter.
Grok is X's AI bot, right. And Grok began to be prompted by outside influences because he's open to everybody.
Right.
And he quickly started to give death codes and how to find people. It was really, really
That
scary.
was a red flag then.
Absolutely. And that was being prompted by other people. This
did it all on its own.
All by its lonesome. That's the part that makes this one really scary. And the fact that it breached some of the firewalls and security measures makes it even scarier.
Oof.
So be careful with your AI. And we're all using it.
It's just getting fed left and right. Yeah. Every single time it's being used, it's a meal. It is.
Chomping us all up.
Number 1, will Tom Brady's bunch please advise him that his legacy is starting to look like a sitcom?
I did watch the Tom Brady roast, and it was bad going back a few years. Actually, I had the pathetic feeling for him at that time because he was being destroyed by Giselle.
Well, he won another ring, and that should have been that should have been it, but nope.
I think he's being sucked into what we're going to talk about in this episode, influencer marketing and the power of the almighty dollar, which is a common thread in this country and across the world, how you can scale, monetize, and get more involved. And the other part is,
did you guys see him flick Logan Paul off at the World Cup games?
Wow. Supposedly this has been a little sparring fight for a few months.
It's intentional. And then did you see the bitch slap? Because I was not aware that this was happening. And that started flooding my Instagram. And I said, did I just see that correctly? Did Tom Brady really smack the shit out of Logan Paul? Like, what?
Hand slap to the face.
It's a gimmick, trying to get everybody intrigued with what's happening. And there's talk that now they're fighting. Not really sure why Tom would do that.
I think he's really selling himself out.
It's called midlife crises, everyone's saying.
Absolutely. Makes no sense. It's not on brand. The WWE is, and listen.
Stay with energy drinks and health-oriented products and athleisure wear and Rolexes. He's wearing Pizza Hut shirts, and he's also a spokesperson for Pizza Hut, which completely defies everything that he stands for from a health.
Well, I'm sure he got paid a whole bunch of money because Pizza Hut is so in the toilet. It is such a downgraded component of Pepsi stock that they'll do anything to try and revive the brand.
They sure will.
So Tom Brady,
he'll do anything.
Correct. So any money is.
I think he was influenced by Alex Earl, and people are also pointing the finger at Michael Rubin.
Wow.
I think that his biggest fan in the whole world, El Prez, was like the first thing that he needs to do is step back from Michael Rubin because he's been doing terrible things ever since they've become thick as thieves.
At the end of the day, when you are following the almighty dollar and you've lost your way, your moral compass, your mind.
How do you lose your way when you have a $350 million NFL contract?
It's never enough. We're going back to the big ring and the Lorax, and you start to see that whatever you have is never enough. And that's part of our problem. And that's what leads us into our episode today, because what we're seeing is that we all are feeling the need to be better. Who doesn't want to be better?
Who wants to live longer? Who wants to?
We want to be younger. We want to be better. We want to be prettier. Hopefully kinder. I don't know. That seems to fall on the wayside in social influence marketing, but the bettering is what leads us to this episode today, because how do you figure out how to get better if you're not going to a health professional?
20 years ago, that's where we got our advice. But today it's coming from 24-year-old influencers and TikTok stars that are getting paid to tell you that this really works and you should use it. And it's changed me, and look at me, and I use it every day. And we're believing this, which is terrifying. And then after the 800 followers watch this self-professed transformation, you plug in the discount code, you think you're getting a deal. Right. And you're going to end up looking like them.
Yeah. And it's immediate gratification. Let's talk about that, because here's the reality. We're all at a point in life where we can have anything we want right away. DoorDash, information from our phone. We can take a pill to make our headache go away. We can solve things with the immediate gratification society that we're in. And health and well-being is such a huge part of everything that we do. Of course, people are going to find a venue on social platforms, right?
Well, Alex Earl, she started talking about her skin and was very honest about her Accutane journey. And then she didn't like the fact that she didn't have boobs. And then she did her boob job in front of the masses. So she was really one of the first influencers that was self-deprecating in ways, which was a nice glimpse of reality. Taking it way back to the original influencer of all times was Paris Hilton. And little 411, she is our Got Grit Award winner today.
Oh, we're revealing her early. That's how big of it is.
It's a big deal because...
All right, you're going to hear the full story about why. This is not the why.
This is not the why, but when you think of the selfie, she really is the first person that started the selfie. And when you think about somebody that was making fun of herself, like, I'm hot, that's hot, looking like a dumb blonde, but rocking it because she came from a mega empire, the Hilton family. She was born into this and was a natural, and she had a look and she had a personality that matched it. So she capitalized on this moment in time, and it became an influencing culture because of her. And you know who her assistant was. Her assistant was Kim Kardashian. So in 2006, she was her stylist. She was the person that was trying to keep her organized, looking good, and put together. They were family friends. And it took 1 year for Kim Kardashian to absorb everything that she witnessed Paris doing naturally on her own to form her own empire. And by 2007, she was no longer Paris's stylist. She was on her own, formulating her entire algorithm of success. She was the creative brain that absorbed it from Paris, and her mother was the brains behind the operation.
Yeah, which is the 101 of influencer marketing. It's scale and replicate, right?
Yes.
Follow what other people are doing, and you too can succeed, which is why influencer marketing is what it is today. It's how it became.
To give you an example, Paris has been she's not a household name like she once was, but for the younger group who might be listening that doesn't know what she's capable of and what she has done. She has 30 individual fragrances.
Fragrances.
Oh my God. I'm a FUD.
She's a fragrance.
She's
a social influencer of fragrance.
She has 30 individual fragrances. I can't say it. Fragrances. Okay.
Perfumes.
She has 30 individual fragrances, 19 product lines, a multi-billion-dollar consumer empire, 45 branded stores, multiple lifestyle categories, and she's worth $4 billion in retail revenue. That's just a little bit of what this blonde ding dong. She's not a ding dong, but that's what she was perceived as. And look who's laughing all the way to the bank.
Well, I mean, listen,
just like Jessica Simpson.
Like Jessica Simpson in the best way possible. And I'm not taking one thing away from our Got Grit winner or anything she did or went through. She was able to have a platform because of where she started. And the big epiphany that she was the first one to turn the camera around on herself.
She was.
And elevate that, which was a degradation of humanity, because I feel like that's part of our problem. We look at ourselves way too much and we're so self-critical on every little nuance. I know I am of myself. Every last little wrinkle popping up and now age spots. It's really hard, especially if you live on social media, because I can find 100 solutions for everything I just said.
Yeah.
And I can find someone who will sell me something in 2 nanoseconds that will fix my last ailment or be my new best friend.
Oh, please. It just heard you talk about it. And without even looking for it, it's soliciting you through your phone.
Absolutely.
It knows your problems. It knows what you can't find. And then you open your phone up and it's ready and available.
A new things are coming out all the time that are being influenced. And we're talking about peptides, as they've gone from almost being FDA approved to gray market and black market. You can get a whole conglomeration of GLP style drugs shipped to your door.
Most of them are not FDA approved. You could have a doctor that's prescribing them for a certain.
Yes. And here lies the problem. Most people are not speaking to their doctor first. They may start some regimen, whatever it is, whether it's a peptide, a supplement, a protein protocol, a new diet. There's a variety of them. And instead of saying, I saw TV ads on a drug, and I'm going to call your doctor and see if it's a good fit for you.
It used to be infomercials, magazine ads. But now everywhere you look, you're getting hit 3 ways till Sunday with red light therapy, cold plunges, and you're seeing that it's tipping across the U.S. and everybody's doing it. So then you start thinking, shoot, why am I not doing it? You're seeing very influential, attractive people looking good, and they're saying they're doing it. It's a self-prophecy. So why would I not look into it and see if it would be good for me too? And I'm sure you guys have all been locked into some of those ads that you see on Instagram, and it's like, click here if you want to know more. And then you get sucked into watching a video and you can't order the product. You can't even see how much it is until you get through the entire video, which is educational, but it's long. And then when you get to the end and you're ready to order, you click order. They're trying to make you subscribe so that you get a better price. And on top of the subscription, they're trying to add 6 more things to it before you can actually close out, pay, turn the page, and you were just sucked in for 35 minutes on how you're going to lose 30 pounds in 30 days.
Well, and that's because they've recognized the metrics of that. And the longer you stay on a page, the more that influencer gets paid. There are metrics for if you stay on for 0 to 6 seconds and 6 seconds to 15 seconds. They have gotten this down to such a science that the compensation is better the longer I keep eyeballs on my page. The chances of you buying it go up exponentially. All they have to do is hit you again, have it thrown into your feed. Now this goes to the top of the line of your algorithm, and you're going to see 16 more. Farley might be seeing one on peptides, and I might be seeing something else on peptides based on our browsing history. From a marketing standpoint, I find it intriguing that you can test all these different styles and mechanisms of delivery. From a consumer standpoint, I question whether people are really getting educated before they hit buy.
Most of the times, no. I mean, unless you get sucked into that infomercial type platform, which I kind of do because I want to understand why I should be taking this or why I'm going to ingest something. I think we are all willing to do things to increase our health, to maintain a youthful look, to stay healthy so we can live longer.
That's the key right
That's
there.
the suck and grab. And I think sleep has become a hot topic. If you sleep well, then everything else in your life is going to function properly.
Well, I think sleep has become such a hot topic because nobody sleeps because all the blue light
and all the caffeine that people are taking in the energy drinks and whatever all day long.
We have a sleep epidemic because of everything we're talking about.
Muscle performance, metabolic wellness, not terrible trends. It's not like, hey, let's go get vapes and drink and do gas station heroin. At least for the most part, everything is relatively healthy to the naked eye. It's just most things aren't FDA approved.
Well, are we healthier? I know what my medicine cabinet looks like, and I'm not even somebody who falls for things, but I have products that I've used 2 and 3 times, and they just sit in my medicine cabinet. I've thought if I were to stop buying anything, I could survive for a really long time with the number of moisturizers I have, the number of shampoos that I have, the number of facial products that I have, all of those different toiletry style things that are wellness based, that are benign, that aren't even more like medicine type. Just those alone, I could probably survive for a year.
Well, systems, which I'm a sucker for because I do want to postpone having to go under the knife to keep my face looking fresh and youthful. So I buy multiple brands and I try different protocols to see if it actually does work. Neurotechnology is something that's really screwing us all up. It's great that we're an information society, but too much information can be a bad thing. When the Apple Watch came out with information on your sleep quality, you could get an EKG done on your watch. There's a lot of helpful tools, how many steps you've taken, how many miles you've walked, what kind of energy output you have. Great for athletes, great for people that are training for something. But the everyday person does not need to know that they only took 900 steps and need to stand up to close your energy ring. Maybe it is good for those people, but for the people that are excessively working out and they're stepaholics, it becomes a real problem. And the smart rings that tell you slept 4 hours last night. If I saw that I slept for 4 hours and was all over the map, then I'm going to think I don't feel very good today.
Right. Self-fulfilling prophecy.
I might say to Pat, how many hours did you sleep? Because you were snoring in my ear. And if he says he got 6 hours, then that might be a debate in our house too. You become competitive with sleep patterns. And then you have Whoop watches. And these are pretty fascinating. I have athletes, so I don't mind the fact that when they're in season, they have a Whoop and it tells them their recovery rate and it tells them how much they slept. But it also can predict if they're under the weather, or if something's coming on where their immune system seems a little bit run down. That information is very handy if you're playing a sport or if you're training for something, but you can also get fixated on it. And then you're going to start popping medications because you don't want whatever you think you're getting. It's just too much. It's too much. I mean, we're predicting the future with these stupid things.
I do have an Apple Watch and I like it when I'm taking a walk or a run, letting me know what my pace is. To me, it's a good measure of where I am. But I agree with you. I don't have that crazy addictive where I got to beat it every time. I'm like, okay, that was a good pace and I felt good. And I recognize that there are different factors. Every day is not the same. Let's talk about the weather. There are days that are humid, days that it's rainy. There are days that you're sluggish, and maybe it's because you got a good night's sleep and maybe you slept too long. Data sometimes does not represent the reality.
Right.
And I think that's where some of the influencing piece gets to be a bit much, because they break it down into data-driven events that don't necessarily represent the right outcome for everybody. Right. Well, just because a protocol works for me doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for Farley. Even though we share a lot of things, we have different bodies, different styles, different ways of being, different methods of delivery when you take a medicine. It's not one size fits all. And that's the other part with the influencer marketing that you have to recognize. A lot of times they're selling you a solution, not knowing what your problem is, unlike your doctor.
They're generalizing. Everybody's dehydrated all the time. You've got to drink, electrolytes, gut health. Everybody's gut health is crappy. You need probiotics. You need soda that have probiotics in it.
You need prebiotics.
You need probiotics. There's just so many things. And inflammation. Everybody has inflammation. So now people are doing peptides because of the inflammation factor. Before, we might have taken Advil or try to do something more homeopathic, like elevate your leg and put ice on
put your feet up.
I do have to say, I popped my calf recently playing tennis, and my husband is a big Wolverine supporter, which is BPC 157 coupled with T500. I know this sounds crazy. These are 2 peptides that work in tandem, and they are supposed to help not only heal inside faster than you normally would, but it deals with inflammation. It's too good to be true sounding, but believe it or not, they are actually working for a lot of people. My popped calf was supposed to be a 6 to 8 week injury, and I did a Wolverine shot the very first day that I injured my calf. And by 8 days deep, my calf was black and blue. My ankle was swollen. It was a real injury. And by the second week, I had done 2 shots. By the third week, I did 3 shots total, and I was back on the tennis court.
And
feeling
how
great.
did you get these peptides?
Well, this is the not so great truth. My husband ordered them online,
Right.
but he has a good source. So he trusts this market not to be black. He had to order a very specific type of water to mix the powder with.
So they're gray.
Yes.
They're in the gray market.
They're in the gray market, but they're coming from a credible source. If there's such a thing in the gray, black market, whatever you want to call it, I'm self-prophesizing that it worked for me. My daughter, Chase, back when she had the Liz Frank injury on the top of her foot, they said this could take away her speed. And this is a long injury that she might not recover from. She was in a boot. We missed basketball season, took her to HSS. They were not ultra promising with the way they were talking about the healing and the aftermath of this injury. So I said, what about stem cells? And they said, nope, not FDA regulated. We don't believe in them. There's no science to prove that they work. Brought her somewhere else, did stem cells, and she healed. Whether it's psychosomatic or not,
I think that's always part of it. Let's be honest. We've always said you have to believe to receive. If you're taking a pill, a protocol, or a procedure or whatever, mind does have to be involved in the decision. So you have to want to get better. Again,
there was physical therapy involved. There were painful massages from wands that were laser. There were a lot of other things that were going hand in hand in tandem with this. I have another friend who had a daughter with a torn labrum. This torn labrum and shoulder situation is being discussed often in my age range, in my demographic. I know a lot of people that have this injury. Rather than going under the knife, her daughter was playing D1 college lacrosse. She decided to give her the Wolverine. And this was 4 years ago before it was considered the Wolverine. It was 2 separate peptides that she was injecting into her child. And this labrum completely healed on its own with help of the peptides and some physical therapy without having a surgical procedure. So I think there's very smart sports doctors out there. And I think our higher level athletes have been doing these things for quite a long time with a lot of success. And now it's spilling over into the normal Joe market that we're all in. It's like what happened in LA. They were really the first to start utilizing it as a form of weight loss. And you started seeing these transformations with very high profile people. And then it started to tip, and it went from Ozempic to Wegovy to, and it keeps getting better. And now Retta is the new drug of choice for GLPs. And you keep seeing Serena Williams doing a
different formulation.
They put a little anti-nausea medication in one, and this one might not be for diabetic purposes. They're all being contrived in different ways.
GLPs, they had a lot of history on side effects because it was an insulin-based drug to begin with. And they recognized weight was a secondary effect. Peptides don't work in a singular fashion. So I think what you have to do, not promoting Wolverine or discounting it, you have to look at what's going to work for you and decide.
Research on your own.
Talk to your doctor if you've got something going on. If you trust what somebody else is saying, a family or a friend, then you're taking that risk on your own. And you recognize that you have a history of something in your family that you need to be aware of. You need to find out what the side effects could potentially be, what things you should or should not be doing when you're on any kind of homeopathic drug, getting away from peptides. There's a lot of things you shouldn't be commingling if you're doing another regimen within diet. So you have to educate yourself if you choose not to talk to a physician.
One of the ways that you need to educate yourself, which includes talking to a physician, is getting blood panels done before you go head first into this realm. You need to know your levels. And we are not educated enough to say, I'm going to do all these labs because I want to see if I'm the right candidate, even with like hormone replacement therapy. HRT, you have to consult with somebody that can do blood panels.
Sure.
And have that be the rug that you lay down in your house and then you decorate your room from there. I do believe strongly if anybody's considering going in any directions, whether it's peptides for anti-inflammation and healing, there's peptides that you can take, believe it or not, that increase the melatonin in your skin so that you can become tan.
That's crazy.
There's a lot of different directions that these peptides go in. But before you start injecting yourself, you might want to know exactly where you stand across the board with all of your blood levels. And I think that that has become a bit of a rage because now blood work and scans people are doing yearly.
It's data because it's data driven. It's math, right? Everything's math. And if you know what your levels are and you know where you have indicators, then you can come up with a protocol. And
genetic risks, before they become a problem.
Yeah.
So people are having the foresight of trying to stop something before it becomes a problem. And we've said that for years about HRT, that at 40, we should get a panel done before you're in menopause or perimenopausal so that you can see how you can maintain whatever your baseline was. And if you see that your baseline's dropping, I need to add more estrogen or a little more, whatever it is, to keep me being me.
Right.
But without that baseline, it's hard for you to figure out what your well-oiled machine self feels like.
Yeah. And especially if you're not of hormone replacement age, we have young adults going through hormonal changes of their own in puberty. And if they're being influenced by influencers and starting on protocols that they don't understand.
And they're not talking to you about it. They just start taking things, popping things, sticking things.
You got to have a conversation about what they're doing and fixated on, because you can access these things in a gray market where you don't need a doctor and you don't need parental permission. And my child can start a protocol without me knowing. That is extremely dangerous, especially when you're not knowing where the influencer is getting their information. A lot of times our influencers are
it's a payday.
Paid. It's paid. There's a coupon code and they're getting a big check on the back end, one portion of the company.
And P.S. there's AI generated fake doctors that have miracle cures out there for profit and fake influencers that are AI generated influencers.
Well, they say 50% of the influencers are fake or created based on yourself. And we could talk about the lack of respect or time to get a doctor's appointment. We were trying to get a hair appointment and we're weeks and weeks out. And you try and get a doctor's appointment.
If only AI could cut my hair exactly the way I wanted it.
But you're trying to get a doctor's appointment and you have an emergent situation with a parent, child, yourself or your spouse or your friend. And you get on the phone and you're like, I need to see the doctor. And we all want it now. And
sorry, you need to go to a walk-in clinic because we can't see you.
And it's 6 weeks.
Yeah.
At best sometimes. So I understand.
So then you go to Google.
I understand why people.
Then you start looking at your device and start, okay, how can I fix this? What's the homeopathic way to fix a UTI or
cranberry juice?
Yeah,
but it does work.
I do it all the time. I'm always on my phone trying to figure out how not to go to the doctor if I can do a home remedy. There's a lot of quick fixes out there. And I'm going to tell you a couple scary trends that you might see kids do, and you should tell them no. One is called dry scooping. If you have kids that are totally into their protein powders and supplements, sometimes instead of making a shake or however they're ingesting it in a normal way, they'll just stick all this powder in their mouth and try to swallow it because they think that they're going to ingest it faster. It's going to get into the bloodstream quicker, and it's going to be more effective in their workout. Which
is so crazy because you don't understand the way your throat works, because the other side goes to your lungs. And if it's in a powder form, it bypasses going into your stomach. It goes into your lungs. And now you've got residue in your lungs.
And pneumonia causing problems. And this I found on the Lung Association's hotline.
Yeah, that's scary.
Mouth taping, not to prevent snoring, because I'm all for that with my husband. This is to tape your mouth so that you can reshape your jaw. And
I'm actually trying this one.
And potentially reduce lines in your neck. It's not scientifically proven, however, kids are absolutely willing to do it. I mean, I do have a satin pillowcase.
Yeah, that is low risk. If I'm taping my jaw, what's really going to happen? Maybe I'm going to get a little tape burn when I take it off. The downside does not far outweigh the upside. That downside, I can deal with that.
Listen, if Alex Earl took a garlic clove and shoved it up her nose because she's got a sinus infection or feels stuffy, I can't imagine how many people out of her fan base is, I think it's 5 million, something like that, maybe even more. I guarantee you a big number would be shoving a garlic clove up their nose. If she was shown pulling out the garlic clove and sinuses were draining.
Well, listen, that sounds like something my grandmother would have told me to do.
Well, that is also a scary trend to stay away from. So whatever these,
And why is that scary?
I think it causes problems.
Okay.
If you have a garlic clove up your
Because
nose.
you can't breathe?
It causes issues. It's not healthy. It's not keeping a vampire away. It's in your nasal cavity. And it's too
Maybe
much.
it gets stuck. Maybe because it goes up in your nasal passage and can get stuck.
I didn't Google exactly what could happen, but it was on scary trends not to do.
Okay.
So I believe.
All right. I won't test it then.
Yeah, I don't think you should. However, you might want to try some of the more popular supplements to help you with sleeping issues, to keep you regular. Magnesium glycinate, gut health, colostrum blends. These are all heavily consumed supplements at the moment. Creatine. I thought you had to work out to take creatine. I thought you take creatine before you went and worked out so that it would help build your muscles. But apparently it's after you work out. But if you're not working out, people, why are you loading yourself up with a lot of these supplements? You're not going to look shredded up because you're not working out, because you're on GLPs. So now you're going to take creatine to replace your muscle that you're losing. A lot of this is getting lost in translation.
That's because somebody told them to take it on a TikTok.
There's a lot of quick fixes, and people aren't recognizing that there are problems. You could be on a GLP-1, but you could have other existing issues. And now you're not getting enough protein and you're losing muscle mass. And now you're going to OD on powders and supplements.
It's like what they did to us prior to the social influencers. It was the old school before and after. And you would see a before and after, and you'd be like, wow, that.
I want to look like her.
That drug works for that. I have always had skin issues. So they show you the before and after. I have rosacea. And if you're on this medicine, it'll help it with this. And you get sucked in. And I think that's exactly what they've tuned into with the social media influencing, where you follow someone and they show you, this is me. Hi, it's me. And here's what I had. And this is what I did.
And
this
weight
is what
loss.
I look like now.
Yes.
And all you have to do is click here. And that's what they've done. And it feels like it's an immediate thing. And you don't know how long the transformation took. You don't know. You just expect it to happen on the buy now.
Well, they've also prettied it up because the influencer, for the most part, is influencing people for a reason. They're attractive, they're funny, they're whatever it is.
And they feel authentic to you. They feel connected to you, and you buy into their person.
They're believable. They're believable. This statement is so spot on. When wellness becomes entertainment and entertainment becomes advertising, how do we know who's helping us and who is simply getting paid?
Yeah.
It's
true. So when you're looking to do any kind of protocol, look at who's behind it, how are they getting paid? There's a bunch like AG1 you hear all the time. Hugh Jackman's involved in that. Andrew Huberman pushes it all the time on his podcast. I love him.
Joe Rogan pushes every supplement.
Joe Rogan's on that one too. He's involved. Rebel Wilson's in Noom. We've got LeBron James, Harry Styles, Matthew McConaughey, Lucy Liu, Eva Green, all are proposed in Calm, which is the mental health space. Headspace is John Legend, Kevin Hart, all the professional athletes. Then you get to a few where Seed, all registered dietitians, gastroenterologists, it's all for gut health, physicians and science communicators. They intentionally avoid celebrity branding in favor of expert credibility, which I gravitate more toward. And it's why Huberman, I'll do a little plug for his podcast. You have to have a lot of time because his podcast can go for 2 hours plus. But he is the head at Stanford of neuroscience of the brain and eye health. He is so well versed. He can talk about science upside down and sideways, but he only picks brands that he takes, obviously gets compensated for, personally takes and can put his seal of approval on. That's also important in this day and age where like Kevin Hart, I don't know how to vet him as being a health and wellness expert. I don't know. That's subjective.
But people that like him will think, I like Kevin Hart.
Correct.
I'm going to take this.
Correct.
A lot of college girls, maybe even high school girls, hopefully not, take one that is supposed to make your female area smell good. And it's pineapple. So that it's fresh and tasty. It's a gummy. There's a little bit of a platform for everything. So if you have a beautiful girl that's seen getting a lot of guys and she's taking her little gummy that makes everything fresh, there is a market for everything.
Yeah, we got back to the money. It's all about the money, money, money.
And then you go to former models. Who doesn't want to look like Molly Sims? She's got a great skincare line. I got sucked in because
which Farley has. So can't you tell the difference? She looks fabulous.
I like her and that she's on the sidelines of lacrosse games and being a real mom with her kids and looks great. She looked great before she started using products, but whatever. Alex Earl did have zits, and now she has the skincare line, and she probably is well versed in it. You become an expert in things that you don't love about yourself or things that you want to correct. So we're not saying that there's no validity to it and that influencers are in the wrong. I truly believe that some will be on a certain protocol and it works for them and they're telling you the truth. But the majority of them are definitely getting paid and they're aligning themselves with brands they like, or maybe they're just paying them a lot. I don't see Tom Brady eating Pizza Hut, but he's getting a lot of money to be the face of Pizza Hut at the moment.
What we want is transparency. Listen, I have no problem with Tom Brady being the face of Pizza Hut because it's obvious he's being paid to be the face of Pizza Hut. He's not saying I eat Pizza Hut every day and this is how I get to the NFL.
It's a shame.
Right. It's a bummer. But what I don't like is when you're not sure and they blur the line. So what I would say is if whatever you're getting into, if you're following somebody that you love, make sure you know that they're a founder of the company and they're standing by it. Like Jennifer Garner, she's got her farm and she's very transparent. If you're transparent in your business transactions, I've got no problem.
Katherine Heigl is an animal lover. So she came out with a fantastic dog food. I believe in it. And I bought it.
But at the end of the day, you want to be in charge of
Badlands Ranch, PS. That's what it's called.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize you put moose on that.
I sprinkle his kibble with it because it's high protein and real food that's been cultivated into kibble.
I liked her. She's cute. She's really cute.
So when somebody takes a pride in something and they go all in because they're fixing a problem or they've recognized it's an industry that needs help, I have no problem. And they're using their celebrity on behalf, then that's great. But it can be very hard to determine who's in it for the money and who's in it for the real deal. And if it's medically oriented and health minded, you might want to consult with a physician or a doctor, or at least get your blood panels done before you start diving into that abyss. Because when I looked at how many pills Joe Rogan takes a day, I was shocked. And how do you know that they can all cross cannibalize and you can take one with that other one in your stomach and 2 hours before or after dairy or before you eat and on an empty stomach? There's a lot to learn. So just make sure that you're helping your kids get informed if you see them shoving something in their mouth, and snoop around a little bit because they could definitely be doing things that you have no idea of because of the gray area and the cyber market.
And make sure that you are in charge of your own health and wellness journey. You don't have to take the advice of your doctor, but at least if you give your doctor the opportunity to weigh in, then you've protected yourself a little bit. Most doctors, if you can't see them, you can call their office and you say, I'm thinking about doing X, Y, or Z. Can you have the doctor call me back? And if that doctor calls you back and is like, whoa, red flag, no, 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 that's a really good stop loss for me. That's a really smart and intelligent way. If you are willing to just take it, and again, to me, it's a risk reward. If it's a low risk and you look at the formulation and if you can read the back of the label, the problem is a lot of these things are made in the lab. You gotta be really careful.
There's knockoff products and the generic version of a generic non-FDA approved version. It's endless.
Yeah.
Getting jiggy with it.
Going back to Paris Hilton, I really misjudged her. I genuinely thought that she was taking females backwards when we were trying to move forwards and gain our confidence, independence, and respect. I used to think, God, what is this girl doing? She comes from such an amazing background. I didn't understand it. However, I do understand her now, and I want to tell you about a documentary she did in 2020, and it was like, I Am Paris Hilton. I was turned off. I would never have wanted to watch it because I felt like I already knew what Paris was all about from One Night in Paris, no pun intended. That whole sex video leak was disturbing, and I thought she did it for publicity, and she absolutely did not. But that is not why I'm giving her the Got Grit Award this week. I'm giving it to her because she was sent to 4 youth residential emotional growth schools. At 16 years old, her parents thought she was spiraling out of control. They moved from LA to New York. New York is a faster scene. You can get into clubs at a young age. She was going to raves at 16. She was rebelling because she had come from LA to New York. Her parents were very conservative and protective when they were in LA just because LA is LA. New York, it was boarding school. It was more hobnobbing with people that also had money and were considered to be socialites. But boy, those kids have automatic access to anything and everything goes. So she was partying. She was doing things that her parents did not approve of, and they sent her to CDEU. She went there for a few months and absolutely did not like it. Then she went to Ascent Wilderness program, and that was like an outward bounds, but she ran away from it. She took another person with her. They were found in the woods, and she got smacked in the face and punched by the people that brought her back. She was accosted in her room in the middle of the night. It was an intervention for all 4 of these programs. 2:00 in the morning, 2 men come in, rip her out of bed. Her family's watching. They think it's the only way. They want to scare her. So she realizes this is the real deal. But they scared her to the point where she still has terrible dreams because of the way that she was treated. The third school she went to was Cascade School. She had a very unpleasant experience there, but the Provo Canyon School was the 4th and final at age 17. She was there for almost 11 months. And not only was she horribly mistreated and sexually abused and put in isolation naked and hit and choked and all kinds of terrible things happened to her, she did not recover. She did not get better there. She got worse. And so many kids were under the same terrible mistreating circumstances. As soon as she was able to get a voice and become an adult that had moved past this and healed to the point where she matured to use her voice, she has taken them down, and she has testified and went before Congress. And as of August 6th, that license at the Provo Canyon School has been revoked. And she banded together with 18 other kids that had similar stories of their abuse. And now she's using her influence in a very positive way. And I'm proud of her that she didn't walk away from that conversation because it was embarrassing or it was going to exploit too much of what she was going through. She's evolved and shed that old skin. She took him down in a very articulate, educated way, and she's a powerhouse. And I saw an interview with her mother, and her mom said that she was always perceived as this blonde bimbo because of her voice and all of her bling and her sparkle and just this cheesy way of being. And that was her mask to protect the real person that's inside, which is a brilliant person, very caring, animal lover, animal activist, incredible family member. Kudos to Paris Hilton for laughing all the way to the bank and making a ripple in a meaningful way with regards to preserving kids that are being taken from their homes and going into treatment facilities and centers, and the abuse is continuing.
That's awesome. I'd love to see what she's going to continue to do because she's still a young woman and she's got a whole future ahead of her and able to take that, what she's learned and done, and create a greater legacy. And I have a feeling she will.
Her $4 billion business, she's got certainly enough successes, but I think that she will channel it in a different direction. She used to travel 250 days a year, going to 26 plus countries. And it was an exhausting routine. And she's concentrating on being a mom, a wife, and a friend.
Yeah, and being a mom changes everything. So she's going to continue to do incredible things.
Go back and watch that documentary if you really want to be impressed, and you'll learn a lot of things about her that everybody judged or perceived incorrectly when it was going down.
I love that Got Grit Award, and it lines completely with our entire episode today. Never judge a book by its cover. Get to know people for more than what you see on a page or a post. All right, that brings us to our song of the week. And I'm going to read 2 verses before I read the chorus. To all your friends, you're delirious, so consumed in all your doom, trying hard to fill the emptiness. The piece is gone, left the puzzle undone. Is that the way it is? No matter what we do, no matter what we say, we're the song inside the tune, full of beautiful mistakes. And everywhere we go, the sun will always shine. And tomorrow we might awake on the other side.
I have no idea.
I am beautiful, no matter what they say. Words can't bring me down.
Oh.
I am beautiful in every single way.
Christina
Yes,
Aguilera.
words can't bring me down. So don't you bring me down today.
Oh, God. That is one powerful freaking song.
Again, never judge a book by its cover. You don't know what people are going through. You don't know what's behind the post. You don't know what's behind the meaning of what they're doing. So dig a little deeper, get to know people, be educated before you're influenced, and be healthy and well out there. And don't worry about being better all the time, because you're beautiful and good just the way you are.
And put that song on as a ballad if you need a little extra grit behind you, because she's got some pipes and owns it. And you do walk away after hearing that song feeling empowered and beautiful for exactly who you are.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Girls Gone Gritty. We appreciate you. Thank you for sharing and sharing us. We continue to see our numbers grow, and that's all because of you. Make it a great day, and we'll see you next time.
Thursday it is.
Peace
Bye.
out.